Have you ever had a moment like this? You're sitting at home, everything is okay, your work is going reasonably well, your family is fine, you have people around you, you have things to look forward to, nothing major is wrong, and yet there's this strange feeling inside you, a kind of emptiness, and you don't even know what to call it. You can't say you're unhappy, you can't say you're depressed, you can't point to one particular problem. You just don't feel full. And that's a very confusing place to be because when your life looks fine from the outside, you almost feel like you don't have the right to feel empty. You tell yourself, what am I complaining about? Other people have bigger problems. I should be grateful. And so you continue. Your work, at work, you achieve, you laugh, you make plans, you show up, but somewhere inside, you're always wondering, why doesn't anything feel the way I thought it would? If you've ever felt that way, this conversation is for you. When nothing is wrong inside, but something is missing, there's a particular kind of emptiness that doesn't come from losing something. It comes from losing connection with yourself. And that's very different. Sometimes we think, I'll feel better when I get that promotion. I'll feel better when I find the right relationship. I'll feel better when I make more money. And I'll feel better when I finally get some time for myself. And sometimes those things do help. Sometimes you get them and the feeling remains. You achieve the thing, you tick the box, you take that photograph, and everyone congratulates you. And for a while, you feel good. And then you're back where you started. And that can be deeply unsettling. Now, you can't blame the circumstances. You have to ask a harder question: what is actually missing? Think about it, the life you built versus the life you feel. And here's something that I want all of you to think about. There's a huge difference between building a life and experiencing your life. You can build a very successful life, a beautiful home, a good career, financial stability, relationships, responsibilities, achievements, and still feel disconnected from the person living that life. Because somewhere along the way, you may have become very good at doing what life requires of you, but forgotten to ask, what does my life require from me? What do I want? What makes me curious? What makes me feel alive? And what do I enjoy when nobody is watching? What do I actually care about? Not what sounds impressive, not what makes your parents proud, not what gets approval, and not what looks good on Instagram. What feels meaningful to me? Those questions can be surprisingly difficult, especially if you spent years being who everyone needed you to be. Now, what's the danger of all this? The danger of living on autopilot. Think about your day. You wake up, phone, messages, work, calls, responsibilities, food, traffic, more work, social media, dinner, Netflix, sleep, and repeat. And somewhere in between all of this, your life is happening. But are you actually there? Sometimes we are physically present in our lives, but psychologically somewhere else. We are constantly moving towards the next thing, the next meeting, the next weekend, the next holiday, the next achievement, the next relationship, the next version of ourselves, and we keep telling ourselves, I'll slow down when things settle. But things rarely settle. There's always another thing, another deadline, another responsibility, another goal. And eventually, you can become so accustomed to functioning that you forget what it feels like to simply be. When achievement becomes a substitute for fulfillment, things go wrong. Achievement is wonderful, don't get me wrong. But there's nothing wrong in wanting success. But sometimes achievement becomes a way of avoiding something deeper. Because achieving gives us measurable evidence. I did this. I earned this. I completed this. People are proud of me, and when we are unsure of what our inner worth is, external achievement can temporarily make us feel very, very valuable. But achievement has a problem. It keeps moving the finish line. You've reached one goal, then another appears. You buy one thing, then you want the next thing. You get the recognition you wanted and you want more of it. And without realizing it, you have created a life where you're constantly proving that you constantly proving you are not enough. And that is exhausting because you were never supposed to spend your entire life auditioning your own worth. Sometimes emptiness is unexpressed life. So here's the other possibility. Maybe you're not empty. Maybe there's a lot inside you that has nowhere to go. That creativity you stopped expressing, the anger you never allowed yourself to feel, the grief you never processed, the dream you never postponed, the conversation you never had, and the version of yourself you abandoned because it didn't fit the life you were building. Sometimes what we call emptiness is actually suppressed aliveness. There's a part of you saying, I want to live differently, and another part saying, this is what we are supposed to do. So you keep functioning, and the quieter voice keeps getting quieter until one day you don't know what you want anymore. We stand there and we say, I really don't know what I want. And this is something I hear quite often, and I don't know what I want. And sometimes that's not because you don't have desires. It's because you've spent so long asking, what should I want? What should I do? What should I do to have a successful career? What should I want to have a successful marriage? What should I do to have children? Should I really want a bigger house? Should I want more money? Should I want to travel? And should I want to be productive? And slowly, should becomes louder than want until you can't hear yourself anymore. So, if you're feeling empty, don't immediately ask, what should I add to my life? Maybe just ask, what have I stopped listening to? That's a very different question. The body often knows even before the mind does. And so, sometimes your mind hasn't even recognized the disconnect, but your body has already done it. You feel tired even after resting. You don't get excited about things you used to enjoy before. You constantly need stimulation. You scroll because silence feels uncomfortable. You keep yourself busy because slowing down makes you feel something. You find yourself saying, I'm fine, but you don't really know what fine means anymore. These aren't necessarily signs that something is fundamentally wrong with you. Sometimes they're invitations to pause, to check in, and to ask, how am I actually doing? Not professionally, not financially, not even socially, emotionally. So, what do we do now? I don't want to give you a 10-step formula for fixing emptiness because I don't think you need another task. All you need is a little more contact with yourself. So, here's something simple. For the next few days, once a day, sit quietly for 5 minutes. No phone, no music, no podcast, no productivity, and ask yourself 3 questions. What am I feeling? Not what should I be feeling? What am I actually feeling? Question number 2, what do I need? Not what is convenient. not what will make everybody happy. What do I need? And question number three, what makes me feel alive? It could be something really tiny. It could be music, writing, walking, teaching, creating, talking to someone you love, or just being alone. It could be learning something new or making something with your own hands, watching the sunrise. It doesn't have to be anything big or productive. It just has to feel like you. You always don't need to run after a new life. And maybe this is the most important thing that I want to leave you with today. If you're feeling empty, you may be tempted to blow everything up, quit the job, leave the relationship, move cities, change your appearance, start all over again. And sometimes a major change is necessary. I don't refute the fact, but sometimes you really don't need a new life. You just need to become present in the life you're already leading. You need to reconnect. You need to make room for yourself. You need to stop performing and start experiencing. You need to remember what makes you laugh, what makes you curious, what makes you angry, what makes you cry, what makes you lose track of time. Because those things are clues, they're pieces of you. So, if your life looks fine, but something inside you doesn't feel fine, please don't immediately judge yourself. Don't tell yourself you're ungrateful. Don't compare your pain with someone else's, and don't assume that because you have everything, you should be happy all the time. Human beings aren't checklists. We aren't meant to be simply collect achievements and call that a life. Sometimes emptiness is not asking you to add more. Sometimes it's only asking you to come back to yourself. Maybe there's a part of you you've been ignoring, a dream, a need, a feeling, a boundary, a desire, a voice, and maybe that voice isn't saying, give me more. Maybe it's simply saying, please don't forget me. So tonight, before you sleep, ask yourself just one question. Where in my life have I stopped being fully present? Don't rush to answer it, just sit with it. Because sometimes the way out of emptiness isn't finding something new. It's just finding your way back to something that was always yours. That is you. So if this video spoke to you and you haven't been able to put something in words, tell me what makes you feel alive. And I'd genuinely love to know from you all. And if you want more conversations about the mind, emotions, patterns, and the quieter parts of being human, subscribe to my channel. And I'm Varsha, and I'll see you in the next video. Till then, take care. Bye bye.